Hey guys, welcome back to Sarcastic Remarks. Alongside Chris to my right, my name is Ryan Chambers. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Go and use that promo code THPN, and next time you go and use DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you to them for being our sponsor for this episode, all of THPN. And as always, this game, I was really expecting a better effort from the Stars, and I'm going to try not to ramble too much. But the Stars lose tonight by a final score of 4-1 to the Ottawa Senators, who are at 28th in the NHL in the standings. Stars, for the first time this season and probably the last 2.5 seasons, have lost 4 games in a row now. And I'm going to go on a mini rant here, Chris. But before I rant off, anything you'd like to say? Anything you'd like to throw in there?
Yeah, definitely at least top 3 worst games of the season for the Stars. And considering the opponent it happened to, it might be the worst because the other 2 bad ones were against the Flyers and the Knights. Really frustrating to see, especially on a tough road trip where this was kind of the one you were counting on. Okay, at least we can get that one. And not only did you not get it, but you put a stinker out there too. Pretty much every facet of this game was bad. The only good part was Scott Wedgwood coming in, doing a good job as a backup. He kept us in the game. He made 3 huge saves before giving up the 4th goal to Ottawa late in that second period. And yeah, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. This team didn't show up tonight, and there's a lot of good excuses for why they didn't. But when you're playing the 28th worst team in the league, like you got to find a way to get those points no matter who's in the lineup. This team, even with the lineup that we have, is way better than the Ottawa Senators, and you should get these 2 points every time. So it's a bad game from the Stars, and everybody knows that.
Okay, and so let me just start off by saying this, and the fact that there is very few, after covering the team for the podcast side and watching every single game just about, and I mean, I watch every single game. It is very rare nowadays that I get visibly frustrated, like watching the game and yelling at the computer like I used to when I was a lot younger, like in my early 20s and even in my teen years. But today was one of those nights. It was one of those nights where I was just letting them have it. And, you can make fun of me all you want. I was letting them have it, and I was absolutely sick of the way that they played tonight. And one of the things I want to go back to that I talked about in the very last podcast is, yeah, they lost 3 games, but they didn't lose the games and they weren't playing bad. They played well, and they either got goalied or the other team was just slightly a bit better. That's all it was. If you lose that way, I'm not going to be mad about that. I have no leg to stand on to be frustrated with that. And then here's the other thing. I know that there's going to be people out there who are going to look at me and view me as this negative, narcissistic person about this team that is 5th in the NHL right now. And I'm sitting here complaining about my team being 5th in the NHL. I don't care. You cannot, with a 4th game on the line, go into a 4-game losing streak and give an effort like that. I'm sorry. As fans, we are absolutely allowed to feel like this. And I honestly, we can, take into effect all the good things they've done this season. They're 5th in the league. Their power play has been pretty good. Their penalty kill lately has been even better. We've seen good outings by Ottinger and by Scott Wedgwood. But you cannot have a game like this. You can't play like this, period. It'd be different if we lost this game against a good team and we played well, which is what we've done the past 3 games. This is completely unacceptable, the way they played tonight. There was no effort from anybody. Skating legs were gone after the first period. The first period was okay. You can't put up 15 shots on a team that has terrible defense and goaltending is bottom 5 in the NHL. You can't. You cannot. You lose in every single statistical category in the game tonight. Shots, power play, penalty kill, face-off, block shots, everything. You lose every single statistical category. I can't say that word. They flat out sucked. So if you want to come on to me and get on to me for being all negative, I'm sorry. Go for it. But as a fan of this team, I spent my time, which is very valuable for a lot of people. That time is the most valuable thing for any person in this world. And I got to watch that tonight. I have never felt like this. Even the Philadelphia game. The Philadelphia game was okay. That's a one-off. They did it again. I can't remember a time last season where we had multiple games like this. And I know it's spread over across like a couple of weeks and everything, but still, if Pete DeBoer doesn't have some sort of bag skate or something to get this team going or something like that, I'm going to be hacked off. And I love to finally see him have some sort of emotion after he pulled Ottinger after the third goal. He tried to get something going, and he was hacked off. They need to be they need to be ripped a new one, Chris. I'm sorry. They need to be reamed for the way that they played tonight. And you can't go in like this to a team who's 28th in the league, lose 4 games in a row like that. I'll jump off of that. Where's our best players? Where is our best players? Again, we don't see anything out of Hintz tonight. We don't see anything out of Robo tonight. And then Pavelski gets a goal, which is good. That's good for him to finally get off the goalless streak he was on. But Chris, can you tell me who led the Stars in shots tonight? Someone in the chat helped me out with this.
Yeah, so it's Radek Faksa.
Radek Faksa with 3 shots. Your fourth line center is your guy who leads you in shots on goal tonight? Give me a break. Come on. And then in the third period, when I guess I expected some sort of response back, some sort of hacked offness from them, and there was nothing, Chris. If anything, it was worse. They let us have it. And good for Ottawa to let us have it. They fully deserved to win this game, and they did not back off on the gas pedal in the third period. There were, I think I counted 3 shifts, maybe 4 in the offensive zone, and half of those shifts were by the fourth line. Faksa, Smith, and whoever else was on that line after they got all jumbled up. So I'm sorry for ranting, Chris. I apologize, but there are times when I rant and I just kind of lose it, and I'm not thinking clearly about the things that I'm saying. This is not one of those games. This is something I'm thinking very clearly, and I'm super hacked off about the way they played. I'm done. Sorry, Chris, go ahead. I know there's a lot for you to unpack. I apologize.
Yeah, and there's a couple. I'll kind of play the other side of the coin here since you're kind of one-sided tonight. But this is the third game in 4 nights from the Stars. They are playing with their both of their reserve players from the roster are both playing right now, and we have a defenseman from the AHL playing on this team as well. Those are good excuses. Again, the third game in 4 nights, that's a good excuse. Long road trip, and this is probably our toughest little section of the season here. That's a good excuse too. The problem for me is the excuses that they don't have. I mean, the forward group is missing Evgeny Dodonov, who hasn't really had a good year anyway. The important people on this offense.
Okay. He's been okay. He hasn't been terrible.
He's been a lot worse than he was expected to be. But anyway, he's not playing anymore. He's probably not going to play for the rest of the season, so it doesn't matter. You've got pretty much your forwards that you're going to have, and you put up 1 goal tonight and have no pressure at all. Your forward group is not hurt, and you're playing the worst defense in the NHL. This is a top 10 offensive team, and they're that low in the standings because their defense and goaltending is that bad, and you put up 1 goal. I mean, lack of effort is crazy. You've got to find a way to do something tonight, especially like you said, Ryan, those big players. They got to find a way to put pucks in net, at least get some kind of pressure. And it felt like there wasn't very much effort at all. You got to give credit to the Senators. They kept it in our zone the entire game, especially like you said, the third period. And then playing in our zone, they're playing keep away in the offensive zone against us, which was really shocking. So there's good excuses for why tonight happens, but it's a bad game. You have to play better than that. Everybody knows it. Stars know it. It can't happen again. You've got to find a way to get some points here soon. The blessing here is that the Stars gave themselves a little bit of a cushion before going into this road trip. So they're going to leave still atop the division and still within 10 points of the league lead. So that's what playing good gets you the chance to make a few mistakes, but it's got to turn around now is when it's got to happen. And it's not going to happen against an easy team to play against. I mean, you're playing the Carolina Hurricanes next, and that's a team the Stars are notoriously bad against, who has a very strong forecheck in the offensive zone, and we're playing 6 left-handed defensemen and a lot of guys who have trouble whenever they're pressured. So you have to win that game. You can't lose 5 in a row. You can't lose 3 in a row, really. It is what our standard should be. But given the circumstances, it makes sense maybe, but this loss doesn't make sense. You got to find a way to turn around, even against a good team like the Hurricanes. It's got to get fixed quick. And hopefully your one day off gives you enough recovery time to figure out how to put some more effort in.
So one of the things I talked about was the fact that, it was really hard to watch this game, and I was talking up a storm, not yelling, but like very loudly talking at my computer screen while I watched this game. And one of the things I kept thinking about was, why do I not feel a need to turn this game off? And because we have this podcast, we want to make sure we have all the data that we can see and that we've watched so that we can make accurate, analysis on this team. So that's why we don't turn it off. But I didn't have that inclination to turn it off. Because there are games where I've had that, like the Philadelphia game, I wanted to turn it off and I didn't. I didn't have that inclination tonight. And the reason why is Richard's question. Why? Why are they playing like this? Are they tired? Are they butthurt after throwing everything at Boston and the New York Rangers and coming up short? I don't know, but and I understand that
tired is definitely true. They have had a really tough schedule. I mean, listen to this. Tuesday they played the Hurricanes. Thursday they played Preds. Saturday Oilers. Monday Boston. Tuesday Rangers. And now Thursday they're playing Ottawa. And it's not stopping. We get one day Hurricanes, one day another back-to-back, one day Jets. And you've got to find a way to dig out of what you're in right now. So they're definitely tired. It doesn't matter. You can be exhausted and you should still beat the Ottawa Senators. That's how much better you are of a hockey team than they are. So, yeah, absolutely they're tired. That's why they played like that. It's a good excuse, but they got to figure out a way to do it anyway. This team is too bad. You can't lose to a team this bad.
When I'm not feeling good, and even if it's just a little bit, I push through it and I figure out a way to make it work. And I just figure it out. Sometimes that's what you have to do, and this team has got to figure it out right now.
Yeah.
I don't.
A little bit different of a comparison, I think, playing a professional hockey game versus.
Okay, fair, but I'm not fair, but I'm not getting paid millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to play a game. And again, I understand all of the stuff, and I know that some people will think that it's unfair how critical I am of this game tonight. But you can't do this. You cannot. This is a game that I feel like you had to win, especially considering the opponents we've seen on the other side of this game and the opponents that are coming up after this game. This is one that I thought for sure they were going to come out with a better effort and find a way to win, and they didn't.
I think
and even worse is I talked about last game that I didn't really care about necessarily the results at this point, right? It's more about how they're playing and how they're doing. And now in 2 games, they've scored 2 goals and they're one of the top offenses in the NHL.
Yeah, I think the difference
I'm
between
sorry, I'm
where
not.
you're at and where I'm at right now is that you're feeling like this is a bigger problem than just the one game. I'm still thinking of this as a one-off. I'm chalking it up to all the excuses they have. They're not playing good. Their offense has not been good the past 4 games and needs to be better. But I think this is just a rut that the Stars are in, and I think they're going to turn it around. It just they need the urgency to do it now rather than later.
Couple of comments, and then there's a couple more things I'd like to mention, and then we'll do biggest winner, biggest loser. Motto had big game 6 against Vegas Vibes.
Yeah,
That's scary. That is extremely scary.
it did feel like
Tyler
that, like
Gleason,
hopelessness.
exactly. That's a good word, Chris. That's exactly how I felt. Talek Lizzie, he was on a 19 goal pace, not too bad. I'm assuming in reference to Dodonov there. And then Motto again, thank the Lord the Red Wings beat the Avs tonight. Seriously, because we would have given up a 5-point lead in 4 games.
And that's the kind of
And
perspective you got to have, though, is like, yeah, this is probably the worst part of the season that we've had. It's also the toughest part of the schedule. We're still in first place. The All-Stars are still a good hockey team. This team is good enough to do everything that we want, go deep in the playoffs, win Stanley Cups, potentially win the division. We're still good enough to do that. We're still in position to do that. Yes, this game was awful. Everybody knows that. Everybody in the world. And they just need to get that urgency to fix it. And I'm sure that they will. And it's going to be tough to do, though, on Saturday.
Ardell had a lot to say before we even started this stream. I think they were emotionally spent from the previous 2. You don't love it, but it happens.
Yeah, emotionally and physically.
So, yeah. I stopped counting giveaways at 20 in the early third. That's the thing I wanted to talk about the most.
The giveaways were crazy.
I think whatever the official stat says, double that, and that's probably about where it actually was tonight. So if it's at 35, it was probably more like 70. It was ridiculous, the amount of giveaways that the Stars were giving up.
Yeah, really bad ones too, and then not much effort to get back. Yeah, just I mean, we could go in circles on this. Anything that you can name was bad, except for Wedgwood. Yes. Good job, Wedgwood.
Like that, yeah, that's exactly right. Because
let's not even try and dig into it, because blanket, everything was bad.
Yes. I do want to say Derek Pouliot. I sang his praises a little bit the last couple of games. He was not good tonight. I know Ardell brings up Jake's 727 save percentage here. I don't really blame him for it all that much. He wasn't good. He wasn't good, but everybody sucked. Everybody sucked tonight.
You definitely don't blame him, but he's definitely part of that blanket of everyone sucking except Wedgwood, because that third one, that's a pretty stoppable puck on the third one. And I'm glad that DeBoer pulled him. I'm glad that he gave us a chance to get back in it. It felt like Wedgwood, with those 3 big saves late in the second period before they scored their fourth, like, maybe that's some momentum. Maybe that our guys can jump on that and follow the train. No one was hopping on any trains. Wedgwood was on his own train going off the cliff.
Oh, sorry. Just as a funny visual with that. I guess if there's any other good things other than Scott Wedgwood tonight, is the fact that I have been sometimes critical of Pete DeBoer and like him pulling his netminder out when things aren't going the right way. He pulled it early, and he saw it early, and he tried to give the Stars a chance to win tonight. And so did Wedgwood. So maybe that's a good thing I can pull out of this, but I don't know.
There's not much else good.
That's about it, right?
It's hard to analyze this game because just everything was bad. Like, name one thing. Yep, Stars are bad at that. So,
yep.
Like you said with that stat line in the beginning, I don't know if the Stars have ever lost all of those stats in one game. Like, even the faceoffs, like for the Stars to lose the faceoffs to a team like this, that's crazy. All of our centermen are in. We're not missing any centermen.
That's even worse. Considering you got guys like Jamie Benn and Wyatt Johnson has been better this year. Roby Hens has been a plus 50 for the last couple of years, percentage wise on the faceoff thought. You have Pavelski, You have Duchesne. You have even Sam Steele has been better as of late on the faceoff dot. So, well, we just need to stop. Let's
Yeah.
just do biggest winner, biggest loser. Who you got tonight, Chris?
My biggest winner. Man, that's tough. I'll give it to Radek Foxer for 3 shots on goal.
I'll give it to Scott Wedgwood. He was the only one that showed up. So that's about it.
Biggest loser. I'll give mine to Delandria. He put himself in some bad positions. He got leveled like 4 different times. And then the turnover at the offensive blue line for that second goal was pretty horrendous. And I'll add a little bonus one on there. Heiskanen just getting burned on the outside. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. Goodness, that was a lazy play by Miro Heiskanen.
The biggest loser for me tonight is everyone except Scott Wedgwood. There you go.
There you go. There's the podcast.
Maybe
my advice for everybody is, I know we said this is going to be the third time we said this. This game doesn't exist. I mean, you have to knock it off. You have to understand the urgency of getting back to playing good hockey, and not even just playing good hockey. The urgency of Saturday is you get 2 points. That is, if you don't get 2 points,
whatever you do, you got
to find a way to win the game. Even if it's an overtime or a shootout, you got to find a way to get off the losing streak. But forget about this game. This is not the Dallas Stars. Don't know what happened to them. This ain't them.
All right. Anything else, Chris?
I wish I watched Avatar tonight instead of the Stars.
I think I'm going to go do that tonight to help myself feel better.
Yep.
Yeah, by the way, give it a chance. For those of you who watched the movie and you're big Avatar fans like we are, not the blue people Avatar, the Avatar The Last Airbender one.
What movie?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There is no movie in Boston, say.
Yes. I love you, Chris. I love that you know that reference. I love you so much for that. Okay. As always, guys, we thank you for listening live. There's been up to, I think we had 15 people. Appreciate you guys for listening live. There's more of you that are listening afterwards. Please go and leave a 5-star review anywhere you listen to your podcast. This is Stars Therapy for us. Hopefully it's Stars Therapy for you to hear other Stars fans complaining about the way that we played tonight. Please go and check out sarcasticremarks.com. Thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook for being our sponsor. Use that promo code THPN. Alongside Chris, my name is Ryan. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. Hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. And let's hope for a better outcome in the game against the Canes on Saturday. We will see you guys on that evening.
Time to watch out.